biggest vote catchers on the ground. Prime Minister Modi in Haryana mounting an attack on the challenger.
कांग्रेस का फॉर्मूला है न काम करो और न दूसरों को काम करने दो.
Day 2 of Rahul's yatra in the poll-bound state.
नरेंद्र मोदी जी ने और आपकी सरकार ने हरियाणा को बेरोजगारी का सेंटर बना दिया है.
Congress and BJP go full throttle to woo voters.
माननीय प्रधानमंत्री मोदी जी को जय श्री राम.
Who will win Haryana Game of Thrones?
Good evening, you're watching To The Point. I'm Preeti Choudhry. We come to you from Hisar. It is the final stretch of the Haryana Dangal, and who's going to come out on top is what everyone has their eyes trained on. Rahul Gandhi started his yatra in the state of Haryana in the final dying moments of the campaign. He yesterday was in the area where the BJP has been traditionally strong. Today he was in the Congress stronghold. What from here on? And the Congress, which many suggest is in pole position, at least right now. Will he help the Congress? And what is the BJP strategy, especially in crucial seats? Let's cut across to our reporters. Joining me, Moshmi, my colleague, who's been tracking Rahul Gandhi's yatra. She joins us from the Gad of Hudda's Rohtak. I have Manjeet Saigal, who's going to give us an insight on how BJP is trying, to not to stem 10 years of anti-incumbency rife on ground, and also try and wayside Congress's best laid plans. Amitabh Tiwari getting us the meat in terms of numbers on what we can expect, especially of Rahul Gandhi's yatra going through the GT Karnal belt, which was crucial for the Bharatiya Janata Party in terms of votes the last time around. And Rajdeep Sardesai would also be joining us for his political insights. He was right here in Haryana a few days ago. Moshmi, to come to you first, yesterday you had Rahul Gandhi, who was practically in the area where the BJP leveraged the maximum seats the last time around in Haryana elections 2019. Today he went to where the Congress strongholds is. What is his plan for tomorrow?
So, Preeti, the Gandhi siblings, descended together and started a yatra yesterday, and we saw both of them, sharing the stage with Shailja and Bhupinder Singh Hooda, thereby, trying to get the internal factionism, get rid of that. And today we saw that it was Rahul Gandhi all the way, because he and Dipendra Hooda actually twinned together to go to one rally after another, covering Bahadurgarh, Sonipat and Gohana. So tomorrow I'm told that Rahul Gandhi, perhaps there's no schedule for him tomorrow, and it could be a break day before the last day of the campaign. And we'd see Priyanka Gandhi Vadra, in fact, in Bhiwani, campaigning for one of the youth candidates of the Congress, Pradeep Narwal, and also, of course, she will be in Julana campaigning for the star candidate and campaigner Vinesh Fogart. So clearly, the top leadership of the Congress party is trying to keep it really together to ensure that they've hammered in the last nail.
There was one picture which was crucial, Moshmi, yesterday, and which was for the Congress needed, especially which has been exploited by the BJP as well in terms of the factionalism within the Congress, Kumari Shailja versus the Hoodas, where he moved in and he had Hooda on the left and Kumari Shailja's on the side, and he moved out of the equation and made both of them hold hands when they raised them up. That picture, has it translated to the cadre on ground, and especially the voters?
very important factor, Preeti, because, you know, in the past 10 days, a lot has happened as far as, you know, the changing political dynamics beyond what meets the eye. And with Shailja Kumari not campaigning for good more than 10 days, that has somewhere, you know, derailed or slowed down the Congress's sharpness, and perhaps the leadership realize that, you know, because we've seen Shailja Kumari smile all the way through, even in her public appearances, but she did not mince any words when she said that she has been, you know, ignored. She has said, yes, that is true, but now we are contesting and we are going to win the election. So thereby, I think the leadership and Rahul Gandhi there, you know, as the chief, not only chief leader, but acting as the chief troubleshooter, stepped in, as you rightly said. And perhaps, you know, it will take time for the messaging to go in. But somewhere there was a big attempt by the Congress leadership to control in the rein in the damage.
You know, stay with me, Roshni. We're going to try and bring in Rajdeep Sardesai as well as Manjeet Sehgal. Manjeet, before we get in, Rajdeep, a quick word in. The GT control, Karnal belt, or possibly the north of Haryana, and then the Ahirwal belt and Faridabad. These were the strongholds for the Bharatiya Janata Party in 2019, where they leveraged the maximum amount of damage. And strangely, for the BJP, especially the north of Haryana, the GT Karnal belt, is the one where they are losing the narrative, at least on ground, where they feel is one of their weakest links right now. How are they going to damage control?
Preeti, in its last minute preparations for the elections, the Bharatiya Janata Party, be it the Prime Minister Narendra Modi or be it the Chief Minister Naib Singh Saini, they try to keep their flock together, even try to woo their conventional vote bank. Even Prime Minister's rallies were focused on the rural areas to woo the rural voters who seems to have drifted during the Lok Sabha elections. Bharatiya Janata Party had lost nearly 14% vote share in the recently had Lok Sabha elections, and Congress was on a comeback which improved a lot. So Bharatiya Janata Party was taking no chances. It did its well to keep many leaders away, like Manohar Lal Khattar, who was facing anti-incumbency. Prime Minister not only targeted the Congress, but also tried to woo the voters of three prominent communities, Preeti. One, Dalit, which form 21% of the electorate, the OBCs, which form 30% of the electorate, and even Brahmins, which form 12% of the electorate. So if these three communities are combined together, the vote share comes to be 63%. So Bharatiya Janata Party this time continues to target the OBCs, Dalits, and it knows that Jats may not vote for the Bharatiya Janata Party, as the Jats were seen drifting towards Congress in the recently had Lok Sabha elections. So Bharatiya Janata Party is focusing on these three communities to retain the power in Haryana.
All right, well, these three, where they are concerned, and we'll bring in Rajdeep on this, 30% OBCs, 21% Dalits. Of course, the BJP more or less has written off mostly the 26 to 27% Jats in the state, Rajdeep. Intensely bipolar. You were here in my state just about a week ago. I actually, Rajdeep, feel that this is a negative vote election and not so much of wanting to bring a party in. It's more or less के इस पार्टी को हटाना है because there's anti-incumbency, और जो भी हो उसको लेके आना है जो ये हरा दे.
Look, that's the history of Haryana. If you look at Haryana politics, by and large, Haryana has tended to vote out a government. Go back to even the likes of Devi Lal. It's not as if Haryana has chosen in the past because they believe one side necessarily offers them better options than the other. If the Congress, as many pollsters or pundits seem to suggest, is ahead, it's only because it's seen as a default option after 10 years of anti-incumbency against the BJP. Look, for the BJP, the attempt will be, can we make what appears to be becoming a bipolar election as multi-cornered as possible? Can we ensure that as many independents, as many smaller parties are able to pick up a sufficient number of votes, if not seats, to try and ensure that this anti-incumbency vote gets split. If you look at 2014, the INLD had at that time won 31 seats. Look at 2019, the JJP picked up 10 seats and several independents picked up substantial number of votes. Now, that's the BJP's best bet in this last few days. Can they ensure enough multi-cornered contests to ensure that the anti-incumbency vote gets split? It's not easy. In most situations, particularly after 10 years in power. But if any party can do it, it is the BJP, because the BJP does have the election noose to be able to do it. And therefore, you've got the JJP with Chandrasekhar Azad, you've got INLD tying up with Mayawati, and the hope the BJP will have, there are sufficient number of rebels of both the Congress and the BJP who are powerful enough to pick up a sufficient number of votes.
Right.
That's the best chance for the BJP to try and offset what otherwise appears to be a strong anti-incumbency in favor of the Congress.
You know, Rajdeep, you are right. And on the ground, it actually looks like this time around the strategy is poised, at least where the BJP is concerned, hoping that the independents pull it in. This is the maximum number of independents that have stood in a Haryana election so far, viewers. And I'll give you an example, and we'll bring in Amitabh Tiwari into this debate. Because, you know, where Maushmi is hoping to go, and possibly I'll see her there, which is Julana tomorrow, the seat of Vinesh Fogart, hot seat, high-profile seat. There are 14 independent Jat candidates facing off against Vinesh Fogart. So imagine that she might have the support of the Congress and the peasants and the Jats in her seat, but there are 14 others, Jats, who are going to take away and chip away some of that vote. And, you know, on the other hand, where I've just come from, the seat of Ladwa, you know, which is the Chief Minister Naab Singh Saini's seat. Now, there are, again, 8 Jats which are standing, because this is a seat dominated by the Sainis and the Jats. They are in practically the same number there. And the Jat 6, they have about 6 Jat Sikh candidates as independents who are standing. There are about 8 Jat candidates who are standing, all hoping to take away some of that Congress vote, you know, and help the BJP factor. So independents, Amitabh Tiwari, which are playing a huge part this time around to pull in that crucial vote, especially helping the BJP. The question is, will this be an intensely bipolar election where the independents will just fall by the wayside, or do you think, because they've done it so in the past, that they could hold the key in the end?
See, essentially, even if you see the 2014 elections, BJP won 47 seats on a vote share of mere 33%. So we've seen highly triangular contests in 2014 and 19. We saw a fairly bipolar contest in 2024 general election. As you mentioned, 47% of candidates this time are independents. So the strategy of the Congress is to make it bipolar. However, given the local nature of the elections, and since both the groups have very polarized voting segments or anchor blocks, like Jats plus Muslims, and then you have OBCs plus general category on the BJP side and Jats plus Muslim on the Congress. The Dalits are floating in between, you can say, and they could be the kingmakers. Because of the 17 seats of SC reserve, no party has ever won these seats consecutively. INLD won in 2009, BJP won in 2014, and Congress was leading in 2019. See, there is an interesting figure.
Yes.
Congress was leading against the BJP in 51 direct contests in 2019, 26-25. But it was not able to win even 14-15 seats out of the balanced 40 seats, because smaller parties like JJP pushed it to the third slot on 11 seats and others on 6 seats, as you were mentioning. So this number of independents could play a role in a marginally hung sort of a situation. The entry of Rahul Gandhi, what it does is, it has both positive and negative aspects. Positive is that it could nationalize the election to a certain extent, and that could keep away the independents and smaller parties. But on the other hand, it could also pit Modi versus Rahul. So that's also one of the things which could happen. So we will have to see how this pans out, and
right.
Independent smaller parties could play a role.
But you know, Amitabh, and I'll bring in Rajdeep on this. because this is one state where you see on ground that the Congress really doesn't mind playing the Modi versus Rahul card. And in Lok Sabha, it actually paid off. Right now, on ground, the Congress would hope that the election gets nationalized and it becomes intensely bipolar, because they've already seen in Lok Sabha that it wasn't so bad when Rahul Gandhi faced off with Prime Minister Modi. But, Rajdeep, to bring you in on this, and also the fact we're focusing on the Congress, focusing on the BJP, intensely bipolar, but in balance, Rajdeep, also hangs the fate of legacies of the Lals. You focus on Bansi Lal's family in Bhiwani, Tosham. You have both cousins, grandchildren of Bansi Lal facing off with each other on a BJP Congress ticket, Preeti Choudhry, Anirudh Choudhry. You look at Hisar, Adampur, you have the Bishnoi, Bhajan Lal's grandson, Bhavya Bishnoi, hoping to hold on to a seat that his family hasn't lost in 1968. Or you look at Uchana Kalar, where JJP, at one point of time, Rajdeep, you had a Dushyant Chautala, who was the kingmaker last time around, with 10 of his MLAs, today fighting to even hold on to Uchana Kalar.
Look, families in Haryana have been part of the politics of that state. Haryana, like so many other Indian states, why single out Haryana, are states where you have political dynasties now running into third generation. You've got Bansi Lal's grandchildren fighting. You've got Bhajan Lal's grandchildren in the race. You've got the Devi Lal third generation out there. But I think what happens in an election now increasingly is that while most elections do seemingly get localized in several states across the country, occasionally anti-incumbency becomes so great that traditional election analysis falls aside. Some of the feedback from Haryana suggests that this could be that kind of election. Even you look at the 2024 Lok Sabha results from Haryana, while the two sides were divided 5-5, among key groups, the Congress was ahead of the BJP. And the particular key group is the Dalit group. If the Dalits shift to the Congress in large numbers, then it's probably game, set and match to the Congress, given that there seems to be Jat consolidation taking place and the Jats are moving away from JJP and ILND firmly to the Congress. So I think, as I said earlier, the BJP has to bank on two factors. One, ensure sufficient independents and sufficient third parties are able to at least take away a section of that Jat vote. And number two, hope that the Dalit vote, particularly the non-Chamar Dalit vote, will come in large numbers to the BJP itself. So this is a state which till 10 years ago the BJP was not even considering as a majority state. They rode the back of several regional parties to reach where they have. Now, ironically, in a twist of fate, they are depending on those regional parties to try and pull them out of the situation they find themselves in, to avoid a bipolar fight. Because in a bipolar fight, I don't think the BJP has a wide enough base at the moment in Haryana to take on the Congress if this election becomes bipolar.
Well, you are right there, especially, where you speak of the Dalit vote, Rajdeep, and if you even look at, statistics, in Haryana at least, where the BJP's hold on the Dalit vote is concerned, has been shrinking, even in the 2019 state assembly elections. And ultimately this time, if there is going to be a player or a kingmaker, it will be the Dalit vote, and you can see the fight for it on ground. The Congress hoping 2024 was not an aberration, where the Dalits went quite a bit towards the Congress, and they'd hope to hold on to that, because the last time that kind of a combination actually happened was in the times of Devi Lal. So will it be an aberration, or will the Dalit continue to vote even in Vidhan Sabha for the Congress? That could decide where the Congress actually stands on the 8th of October. I appreciate all our guests for joining us. Thank you there. And we'll keep a keen eye. It's the last dying hours of the campaign, but the campaign is in full swing. Thank you for watching.